Well, many of you have been wondering where we've gone. Delighted to say we're back. The Obi One Podcast, made possible by Bet Winner. It's season 2. It's John Obi Mikel and myself, Chris McHardy. And John, we clearly pleased someone because we're back for season 2.
Yep, we're back. We're back. We've clearly pleased someone, and that's why we're back. You know, they've stuck with us season 1 and now season 2. So we're back. We're back. Bigger, better, and
bolder.
I think our fans should expect so much more coming in season 2.
I'm still a nobody to many of you. You, however, John, you're already a Chelsea legend. You're a Nigeria legend. You've added about 1 million followers on Instagram. Do you want to give me some of those, please, John? Because since we launched this podcast, your star is on the rise. It's been great for you. I know you've loved it.
For you too.
It has been.
For the whole team, yeah.
I've thoroughly enjoyed just doing it with you, but you're on the rise, pal.
No, we are. I mean, we're doing really well. It shows that, we're doing something well. And, the good thing about it is, we are the podcast that we have our own opinion. We say what it is. It doesn't matter.
Even if we
matter
piss
what
you
it
off.
is. Exactly. Even if it pisses some people off, because we can't all have same opinion. Everybody's got a different opinion. And for the fact that I have my own strong opinion about certain issues, I think people get upset, but this is what this podcast is about, to be honest, to be truthful, and say it the way it is.
Well, since we last caught up with you, you've had hamstring surgery. we got to get to that first and foremost because...
Yeah, just that one, yeah.
What on earth happened? Soccer Aid, which is a big UNICEF initiative over in the UK. You were due to play in that game at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah. And
then you tore your hamstring.
Yeah,
old age.
Hamstring, mate. Yeah, I think it's old age catching up on me. No, but it was 2-3 days well spent with the celebrities, you call them, the musicians, the artists, the actors, and everybody was just there. It was a great atmosphere. But sometimes, in this kind of environment, in this kind of situations, we didn't stretch properly, we didn't warm up, and then we woke up in the morning to go play dodgeball. Dodgeball, exactly, just for the media and the cameras and everything. And it was me with a couple of other celebrities, and we were just trying to run past the ball or whatever it was, and I just slept. I slipped. And I could, as soon as I was falling down, I could feel my hamstring go. Mate, it was so painful. I was on the floor.
Most painful injury
I've ever experienced, because I've never torn my hamstring like pretty bad before, but this has just happened. This just caught me like, whoa. So, the pain was 10 over 10. It was 10, it was so painful that I was on the floor for almost about 20 minutes. And of course, I had to go under the knives.
37 going on 57, John. That's what that is. That's old age.
Yeah, going on 57, yeah.
It is, well, listen, it is great to be back with all of you. We talk about this podcast. You're absolutely right. We like to be truthful. We like to welcome on the big names. Season 1, we did that. Jose Mourinho, for goodness sake. Eden Hazard.
Yeah.
John Terry, Frank Lampard, Victor Osimhen. I don't want to miss anyone, but we did brilliant in season 1. Pointed out to me by a lot of people, pointed out to you by a lot of people as well. Essentially, it was your contact book, John. It was Chelsea legends, a couple of Nigerians thrown into the mix as well, and a big shout out to Rio Ferdinand, who was our kind of token Man United great. This year, we're mixing it up completely.
We're mixing it up, mate, and that's the good thing about this podcast. We're trying to make sure we diversify the whole thing, not just football. We whether it's sports, whether it's entertainment, whatever it is. We want to make sure we reach our fans whatever they want to listen to. We want to make sure we bring it to our fans and make sure we bring the best of the best. And that's I think that's what we've done here.
Oh, yes.
In season 2.
Now, we have listened to you guys as well, because there's a couple of observations here. Not only are we diversifying, as you rightly point out, one other thing that we took on board as well is that Zoom is our friend, but it ain't going to cut the mustard. If we're looking to raise standards, so you've got the checkbook out, we have spent huge sums of money, none of my money, I'm Scottish, I've got none, but you've spent big money. We've gone on location, London, Qatar, Madrid, little hint as to some of the people we're talking to. We are making sure that we are face-to-face with our guests this year.
Exactly. I think that's the good part about it. Season 2, everybody we've interviewed, we want to make sure that, it's an in-house guest, and we want to make sure, it's a face-to-face conversation, because, when our fans are watching us, they want to see the fans, they want to see the guests in the studio. It makes it a lot more better to listen to. And that's something, we've done in this season 2. Yeah, we spent the big bucks when you want to please your fans, you have to spend the big bucks. And of course, the phone book keeps stretching. But this is why, over the years you've done your work, you've played football, and you've made friends, and those friends are people that you call up in situations like this, and they pick up the phone.
Yeah, you're hugely respected, John, wherever you go. For anyone that is listening to this or watching this, you know why you're here, because we're starting with, when we talk about this fella, he is not only a sports legend. I think he's in rarefied air, John. He's an icon. And when I think of sporting icons, Muhammad Ali is a sporting icon. Tiger Woods, your icon, Roger Federer, is in that rarefied air. Usain Bolt is in there. Yeah. This fella he's a genius at what he did. He's the fastest man on the planet, still is, and I think that's a record that's going to stand the test of time, certainly my lifetime. And we've got him as episode 1 of the Obi One Podcast.
For me, I think he's the greatest, one of the greatest athletes, of all time. An icon, absolute icon of sports. Somebody who thrives on the big occasion. He lives from the big occasion. He enjoys the big occasion, and he delivers. There's nothing so much
clutch
satisfying than that. When you talk the talk, you back it up. And he's done that, all throughout his career, and he's backed it up. He's produced the goods, he's delivered, and he's won so much. For me, the fastest man in the world, the fastest man ever. Exactly. He's never been beaten. Will he be beaten? Maybe, but not yet. He's not been beaten. So right now, he's still the man. He's still the GOAT. Usain Bolt, what an athlete he is.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This fella epitomizes what sport is all about. I'm still a bit of a skeptic, and we'll get there. I still think that was just for show. I always wonder, and we put the question to him, whether that was an act, what he would do, the histrionics before his racing. But to your point, John, he backed it up time and time again.
Yeah, there's nothing better than that. I think another athletes who we can mention in that category, somebody who talks the talks, walk the walks, and back it up, is Floyd Mayweather. So it's probably Floyd Mayweather and Usain Bolt. These two, they've absolutely backed it up. So for me, those two, for me, they live off that. They thrive off that occasion, the big stages. They love the show, and both of them are in the same category. For me, fastest guy, top guy, loves his football as well, knows his football, and absolute icon of the sport.
Before we get to this interview, quick question. We know you love a night out, John. We know that you love a night out. Usain Bolt or Floyd Mayweather, who are you hitting the town with? If you had to choose one of those fellas.
I'll probably go Usain.
I'd absolutely go Usain.
I'll probably go Usain. I think he loves his night out. He's a guy with the
aura.
With the ego kind of that. You know what I mean? He loves the show. He thrives off it. And, he's a guy who loves to have a conversation with people. He's very friendly with people. Larger than life, you know what I mean? Talks to his fans, engages with his fans. And that's something that's very, very important. And if you have a night out with somebody like that, it's all going to be one way. Amazing.
Who is the best person you've had other than me, John? Who's the best person you've had a night out with?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Who's the party animal? Come on, say it. JT's been on the pod. You don't have to speak to him again. Lamps has been. Who's the best fella for a night out?
Oh, as a team, probably, I'll probably go, those two. JT Lambs, Ash, Didier as well loves a night out as well. So
Come on,
those
Didier,
guys,
get on the pod.
we did have a very, very good night out.
I love it. I need to be on one of those nights out. Right, let's get to this. On location, an exclusive. It's an Olympic year as well, of course, and it was only fitting that we begun season 2 of the Obi One Podcast, made possible by BetWinner, by sitting down with the man, the myth, the legend. It's not JT again. It's the one and only Usain Bolt. What is the Obi One Podcast, made possible by BetWinner? John Obi, Mikel, Chris McHardy, and we're joined by a man. I kid you not, this man gives me goosebumps. Even sat alongside him, he's the man, the myth, the legend. He's an icon.
Yeah.
He's the fastest man. In fact, scrap that. He's the fastest human on the planet.
Yep.
John Obi, Mikel. It's the one and only Usain Bolt.
Oh yeah, I mean, I sometimes you watch people on TV, obviously doing what I've done as well, being a footballer and played in the on the bigger stages. But what this man has done, the fastest man ever still in the world is it's ridiculous. And thank you so much for being on the Obi One Podcast.
Happy to be
Thank
here.
you so much.
Usain, it is an honour to have you on this podcast. And John and I, whilst we were waiting for you to arrive, we were talking about it's 15 years, Usain, 15 years since I was sat. I remember where I was at university watching you in Berlin do what you did.
Yeah.
15 years on, how do you reflect on it?
For me, it's when you hear how long it's been, you never really understand, you know what I mean? But it's always mind-blowing. It's been that long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, the work that I put in over those years, you kind of makes you feel good, you know what I mean? Because I worked a lot to get to the level of being the best. So it's always a great feeling just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And you are the best. And John and I talking about it, not one but two. Those 2 records that still stand to today. 9.58 in the 100 metres. 19.19 in the 200 metres. What's the record that makes you the most proud, Usain?
It's the 200 meters. For me, the 200 meters are like my baby. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
But everyone thinks it was like the 100 meters is like your baby.
Yeah, but that's for everybody.
Yeah.
That's what everybody loves because 100 meters is like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Like the thing
Yeah.
because he has the fastest man in the world with it.
Yeah.
But for me, the only reason I did the 100 meters was because I didn't want to run the 400 meters. and that's the craziest thing.
Really?
You know what I mean? I've told this story to people and they always laugh. So after, in 2007, I lost to Tyson Gain, the 200 meters.
Yeah.
And I was saying to my coach, Coach, I really thought I was going to win. And he said, listen to me, you were weak. You needed more work.
Wow.
And he says, we need to do another event. And I was like, all right, cool. We can do the 100 meters. He goes, no. You're a better 400 meter runner. And I'm like, Coach, no. You know what I mean? Because I train with 400 meter people, so I see the work that they do.
That they put in.
I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So I was like,
It's
no,
too much
Coach.
hard work.
Exactly. So I was like, Coach, listen, all right, let's make a deal. And he goes, okay. I said, give me 100 meter at the end of the season. If I run fast, I run the 100 meter. If I run slow, I run the 400 meters.
Wow.
So I went, I think it was in Greece. We found a meet at the end of the season. And I went and I ran 10:03. I came second. Ooh. And that, at the time, was very good.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up running the 100 meters. Wow. If I'd run slow, I'm running the 400 meters. So it was crazy to know. And then it all just worked out.
That's crazy. I mean, that you had to make a deal with your coach, and of course you won, and now you run the 100 meters, and
exactly.
It became the one that everybody always wanted to watch you. The Olympics. People talk about the Olympics, and everybody's always focused about the 100 meters, and it was mostly because of you. So, I mean, all the adrenaline, how do you feel? Because all the pictures and everybody's got their camera waiting for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How do you feel with that?
I think my coach kind of put me on early and explained to me. I think he saw what was going to happen before it happened. Because he's always saying, you have a great talent. If you really work on it, you're going to be good. So I think he kind of saw in the future. So one day we sat down and he said to me, listen, when you get to the top, it's going to be a lot. And it's going to come like this. So he kind of prepared me in a way to be ready.
You know what?
Even before I knew what was going to happen. Because he always said, you have such good talent. You have such great talent. You're going to be good as long as you put the work in.
Yeah.
So the fact that when it happened, I kind of knew in a way that it was coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I knew how to handle it. And he always said to me, he's saying, as long as you're prepared, you'll be fine.
I always wondered, Usain, I've got to be honest with you, watching you, and I remember watching with my friends, my mother, and you would do all the posing before a race.
Yeah, you bring the snacks and the drinks, then you wait for the 100 meters.
The camera would come, and you'd be doing all of this. And I remember saying to my mum and my mates, that's an act. I think he's nervous. I think he's nervous. I'm talking bullshit.
Yeah.
That was you. That was your personality shining.
Exactly. If you followed my career from I was like going through the championships, like World Juniors and World Youth, I was always like that. But I would do it at the end of the race.
Okay.
Because when I won in Kingston World Juniors, I saluted to the crowd. I was vibing. You know what I mean? I remember World Youth the year before. I told my friends, listen, back then it was a break dance. You know what I mean? And at the end of the race, I was like, you know what I mean? Because I just love it, and that's just who I am. And throughout the years, I was kind of timid when I got to the big level. And I remember when I celebrated when I won the Olympics in Beijing, and people were saying, "Oh, that's so disrespectful." And I was like, "No, I wasn't even. I was just happy I won." And I kind of went back to a few of the athletes, and I was like, "Yo, did you feel any way about this?" And they go, "Yo, if it was me, I'll do the same thing." You know what I mean? And from then I kind of relaxed. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be myself. And that's just when my personality started coming out, and
that was just you.
That was just me.
But it definitely psyched out.
Yeah, because I think if you watch, I watch track and field, and most of the time that's what the older generation did. They were always trying to psych each other out. And puff their chests. But for me, it was just me being me. You know what I mean? And when people say, I was like, yo, maybe it does. But it's not on purpose like I'm doing it to psych people out. And you know what I mean? I think after years passed, I think more people started doing it. Start being themselves and start enjoying. Because I love track and field. And I love the performance. And I always tell people, like, yeah, they want to see you run fast, but they want to see who you are. And that's why I do it. Just to have a vibe and put on a performance for the crowd, because they come to see you. You know what I mean? And 100 meters over like like this. You know what I mean? So for me, the rest of the time going around the track, vibing, laughing, signing out, that's what the people want.
So I'll have to ask though. I mean, I remember, leading up to the Olympic, you train for such a long time, doesn't it? It comes every 4 years, doesn't it? How does it feel? I remember one time in your career I was watching, you had a false start. How did that happen? How do you feel training so hard and then it comes and it goes because of a false start?
For me, that season, I was on pace to do extremely well. You know what I mean? And I think it was like maybe in February, March, I tweaked my hamstrings, and we went to the doctor and we could not figure out. So when I was running now, I didn't feel the power, and we could not figure out what was wrong. You know what I mean? And it started worrying me because I wasn't the same. And I remember late in the season, they finally figured out, we got an osteopath that was saying my ankles were locked. And my knees. So when he freed it up and I went to train, I was like,
you feel much better.
I feel better. But no, it was late in the season. Now I was all in my head like, am I ready? Am I ready? Because I wasn't the same person. If you watch my season, I was struggling. People were running close to me. In my head, I was in my head. So when I got to the start, even though my coach was like, yo, you're fine.
Relax.
I could not get out of my head. You know what I mean? So I tell people, and people are like, when I got in the start, then the guy said, on your mark, set. I can swear something, just say go. And I just ran out the block. You know what I mean? As soon as I got out, I was like, what the hell did I just do? You know what I mean? And I know when people are like, why did you take off your shirt? I was like, bro, I false started by a mile. It was like it was close. It was like, so much. You know what I mean? And it was just the fact that I was in my head. worrying about
You're worried
if I
about
was
it,
if I was going to run fast, if I was ready. And that was a lesson, you know what I mean? I learned from that moment, you know what I mean? And it would never happen again because now I understand that if you do that, things will happen. You know?
The world that you lived in, you say, what was it lonely? Because I speak to John, we were talking about the fact that a team sport, if you make a mistake, you've got a buddy who can bail you out. You don't have that luxury.
Nah. From now, you know what? You kind of understand what it is at the start, you know what I mean? And always, it's on the way, we train in a group. So it wasn't, it's on the day, it's like just you.
Just you,
fair.
And mainly at the championship, it's all about yourself. So you don't really mingle as much. But throughout the season, even in one-off races, you still hang out a lot because it's not as serious. It's just when it gets to the championship, nobody really wants to talk. Nobody really wants to talk to you anymore, you know what I mean? So you understand that, but for me, it was okay, you know what I mean?
It was life.
Yeah, so I wanted it, and I knew what I wanted, so if nobody wants to talk to me, I would be fine, because I'm like, I need to get this done.
Because you also know how to psych yourself up and put yourself in a situation whereby you know exactly what you want. And of course, you know, I don't know what they call them. Of course, in football, we call them ball boys. You know what? Sometimes when you go in, you give them the high five. And that used to make we watch it. We used to love it. You know, you've just made a little boy or a little girl dreams come true. That I'm fist pumping. You know, Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world. How did you feel about it?
It became a thing. You know what I mean? It started because one of them kind of engaged me one time, just randomly, having a conversation. He said, "Yo, can I have your number?" Just at a meet, and I was like, "Sure." I'll give it to you. Sure. And I just fist bump. And then after that, it just became a thing that because I could see the happiness in their face, you know what I mean? So after that, every race I did, as long as there was somebody standing and picking up the bags, I would fist bump them. If they wanted to have a conversation, sometimes I can see how nervous they would, or I'll try to run a joke, make them laugh. It was just a vibe. And it was just something that I knew that would make them really happy. So I just did it.
Wow.
I always recall Brian Lara, another proud Caribbean West Indian in that part of the world. And I asked him once upon a time the word pressure, if he ever felt pressure. And he kind of looked at me and said, "Chris, I don't know the meaning of the word. You have a definition of pressure. I don't. Pressure is putting food on the table. Pressure to me, hitting a cricket ball for six, easy. For me, he said he never felt it. Did you ever feel pressure in your life, in your career?
I think what helped me, in 2002, I competed in front of my home crowd in Jamaica when I won the World Juniors. And for me, that was the roughest moment of my entire life.
Wow.
Through my whole career, I've never been so nervous.
Really?
Never been so stressed. Like, I put the wrong shoe on the wrong foot. Because when I was coming through the tunnel, there was this other athlete, a female athlete called Anisha McLaughlin, and her race was going before me. And I remember walking out the stadium, and I could hear the shouting, and I ran to see what was happening. You know what I mean? And she actually came second. But after that happened, I kind of started listening to what was going on.
Conversation,
And they were actually shouting my name. And I was like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? I'm like, what's going on? Because now this has never happened to me before. This is my first time. So now I can't stride out. I'm nervous. I'm sitting down and I'm putting the shoe on. It can't go on, but I'm not looking down. I finally look down. It's the wrong shoe. And I'm like, Jesus, what is happening? You know what I mean? And after I won there, and I was like, and I started traveling and going to different places. And I said to myself, why should I be nervous? You know what I mean? If I could win in front of my home crowd with that much pressure, it's easy to run in front of strangers. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And one thing my coach also helped me with, he's like, listen, if you're prepared, there's nothing to worry about. And I've learned that along the way. When I'm in good shape.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. If
you
you're
don't
in
worry.
good shape, exactly.
If you know
Same
you're
with
good
us
shape
as well,
you're not worried, you know what I mean?
Because you can feel it.
You can feel it. You know, you're clicking, everything's going well.
It's clicking, yeah.
There's no worry. So there's no with me. I know if I'm in good shape, you're not going to beat me. So there's no worry. You know what I mean?
That you would know if you were at your optimum. You would go to bed at night knowing tomorrow in an Olympic final, no one's going to beat me.
Yeah,
easy.
Yeah, I could tell that. You know what I mean? No matter how much, as long as I'm in good shape and I was running good, I had enough training. No worries, no matter what's going on.
What a feeling.
You know what I mean?
What a
Just
feeling
because,
that is.
yeah.
We used to watch it back then, obviously. The only person that always used to come was, okay, is he gonna be tired? Because he's always there. He's always there. I think you guys kind of have like a little kind of rivalry between both of you. Probably know who I'm talking. Is it Tyson Gay? He was the guy who. I'm sure there was something between both of you.
Yeah.
He was always speaking about you.
Oh, he was
There
always,
You know what I mean?
For me, with Tyson at the start, it was fun because we started almost at the same time, coming up through the ranks. Because I was just running 200 meters at the time. I just came on the circuit. Funniest thing. So when I just started out, because I was so talented, I didn't train as much. You know what I mean? So I used to beat all the seniors in Jamaica.
Wow.
I was like, okay, all the big guys. I was like, it's easy. So when I'm going on the circuit, I felt like I was untouchable. You know what I mean? I never won one race the first season. I never won a race. Because I was like, oh, it's easy. You know what I mean? I'm beating these guys, so it should be easy when I get on the circuit. I didn't win a race all season. You know what I mean? I was like, and I said to my coach, like, what is this? And he goes, yo, everybody that's on the circuit has talent.
Yeah.
It's who works at the talent the most is going to be the best. And I'm like, true. Because if you're here, you got talent. You know what I mean? If you're on the circuit, it's the best of the best.
You have talent, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's who that puts in the work to develop that talent is going to be good. And that's when I really started saying, you know what?
Yeah.
Let me start putting some work in. You know what I mean?
You think you're Asafa Powell,
Asafa,
Tyson Gay, Justin Gay, Ed Gatlin as well.
Gatlin, yeah.
You had three guys there who I'm sure in their own way were doing everything in their power to take down the Bolt.
Yeah. I think Justin Gatlin, I have to give it my hats off to him. One thing with him, he keeps... the last 5 years of my career, maybe 5-6 years, it was just me and him every season. And he kept me on my toes.
Really?
Sure. And I love the competition. That's something that I...
Did he help fuel you say?
For sure. One season, if you watch my documentary, one season, I Am Bold, one season, I was just going through stuff. I was like, I'm not motivated to train. You know what I mean? Because I had won everything. It was coming down to the last. And I was like, you know what I mean? And then I have to get up every day and the training is just, the older you get, the harder it gets. I'm like, I'm not feeling this. You know what I mean? And I remember I'm just on Instagram scrolling through and somebody sent me a video. And
you saw him say something.
Look at this. Look at this. And he was like, they were like, yo, Justin, he was doing probably a podcast. Yeah. And the guy was like, say you're gonna win. He's like, yo, yeah, I'm gonna win, don't worry. And I'm gonna wear the gold medal around my neck like a gold chain. We're going on tour. And I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, let's go then.
Let's go.
And it kind of just fueled me because now I know that he's working hard, so I need to step my game up, you know what I mean? And it was good. And I respect him because it was always just push. And my coach always said this to me. He's like, listen, Justin Gatlin he's gonna show up. He's one of that guy. He's that guy in a championship. No matter what's going on then, when his championship comes, he's gonna show up. So that's something that I've learned, and I was like, yo, it's crazy, but it helped.
And when it came to the meet, would you talk to one another? Would you and Tyson talk? Would you and Justin talk?
No, me and Tyson, I don't think we've had. When we started, we used to be friends. I think at the start, we were all cool. Me and Wally Spearman and all these guys, you know, we talked. But when we started winning and the level started stepping up, never happened. Justin is the only guy that all season, he will never have a word with me. As soon as the championship ends, he's the nicest guy. And it always wears me out. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, all season you don't say anything to me. At the end of the championship, we go to other meets. He's like, yeah, you saying what's up, bro? And I'm like, what are you doing? But then I figure out that's just how he is, and that's how he motivates himself. He doesn't want to be your friend because he wants to beat me at the championship. He wants to win. But after the championship's over, he's like, all right, whatever. That's gone. Crazy. We can be cool.
Crazy.
And I think it was like maybe the last 2 years I kind of understood how he was, and then we kind of had conversations after. But it was always weird that he would never talk to me all season, and then at the end he would talk to me.
I mean, running sometimes, and I know for us, probably, it's not disrespect, it was how good you are and how much work you've put into, you know, what you've done. When you were so far ahead, you know, a couple of times, you did it. How did you feel doing that? You know,
Bad
looking
habit,
at them
man.
like, you know, okay, now I'm just going to jump to the cross line. How did you feel about
Sometimes it's just looking back is just a bad habit. My coach always cussed me out about it. I can't help it. I don't know why or what. No matter what's going on, I have to look around. I don't know why.
To see, yeah.
I've always told people, like, in every championship race, I can walk you through the whole race of who was where, who was challenging me, because I can't help myself.
You have to know
you
where
know,
everybody
people are
is.
saying, yo,
Yeah.
tunnel vision.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
have that. I'm like this.
You're looking.
all the time.
Is that an insecurity you
I
say?
don't know. It's just something I do. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know what it is. And my coach cussed me every day. Stop doing it. Just look forward and run.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
It's crazy that, because I look back on Beijing, 9.68 was your time in Beijing. And 9.69, 9.69. It was in Beijing. And I know you've maybe had this question a lot because you do slow down. What would your time have been? Do you have an estimate of what it could have been had you got to the line?
I think it would have been faster than a world record, I think. Because that year, I think I was the fittest I've ever been.
In 2008?
Yeah. In my entire career, I think that was the fittest. I had no
that
injuries.
is scary, man.
No
That's scary.
issues. I had no issues that season. None whatsoever. That was the only season I've ever been through with no niggles, no nothing. It got to the point where my coach gave me 2 days off. I was so in shape, he was like, you know what? Take 2 days off. Because I was so way ahead of the progress that we're making.
Yeah.
He's like, nah. Take 2 days off. And you know coaches don't really give you days off.
No.
And they go, yo, take 2 days off. You know what I mean? Even when we got to the championship and we were working out and I ran, we had like 5 150s and I ran 2 and he looked at me, he's like, yo, let's come sit down. That's the level I was at the Olympics. I was just ready and on point.
And you say you can map out every race.
Yeah.
At what point did you ease off in that 100 meter?
75.
Whoa.
So you ran 9.69
Whoa.
and a quarter of the race you had eased off.
Yeah. Because then, for me, it was a Safa.
Yes, it was.
It was both of us that were going back and forth. Because he had beat me, I think it was the last race going into the championships. But I knew that I messed up in that race. So I was like, okay, it's my fault. So when I got to the championship, I got a solid start. After 50 meters, when I looked, and I was like, I don't see him. You know what I mean? Because I looked there, I was like, I don't see him.
Yeah.
So when I got to like 65, I kind of peep again. I'm like, I turned fully now because I'm like,
where is
I'm
he?
not saying exactly because I'm expecting him to be there. So I peeped and I was like, and when I saw, and that's when I beat my chest because now I looked and I know no one's gonna catch me now. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because all the guys that could threaten was on my right side. So
you honestly sitting here today, because you know your body better than anyone, you think 9.58 could have gone that night?
yeah, for sure.
Wow.
That's
For
crazy.
sure.
Because the 19.19, I remember watching this, and Michael Johnson, I've interviewed Michael, what a guy he is,
Yeah, he's a cool
on the
person.
BBC, and I've got goosebumps right now recalling this. They slow-moed your 200 meters, and Michael Johnson, with that big baritone voice of his, he broke down your bend. And I think it was Hazel Irvine, if memory serves. He said, Hazel, that bend is the greatest bend that's ever been run. And I think he said it might be the greatest bend that will ever be run. It was picture perfect. When you look back on it, you say 19.19. Was that the most faultless race that you've run?
For me, it's years of training. As I said, when I started out, I started actually with 100 meters. I was always running 200 meters. And then I had to stop the 100 because my start was so bad. I would never, by the time I started running, the race was done. So I stuck to the 200 meters. Then I went up to 400 meters. But the 200 meters was always something that I loved. And I used to watch Don Quarry and watch the way he runs the curve. And that's something that I loved. And when I got with Glenn Mills and he kind of broke it down and explained what Don Quarry was doing, and I kind of understood, and I practiced and worked on it. So for me, it became just a part of me. And it's something that they said, Coach always tells you, it's muscle memory. If you work on it long enough, it just happens like a footballer. You touch. No matter how, you're going to touch and turn because you're used to it. It's something that you do every day. So if I worked on that curve, so it just became a part of me. It's something that I knew exactly where to run, how to swing in, how to swing out, how to come off the curve. I knew everything.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, now, I've got kids, and every time, and they're so into sports, they do relays in school. And they always say, Daddy, what's this guy? Everybody, we talk about in school, the fastest man in the world. Bolt is called Usain Bolt. Like, yeah. It's like, is he a Bolt, Daddy? Does he just shoot? I'm like, no, he's a human being. For me, sitting here with you today, it's absolutely amazing. And I'm sure they will be so proud to know that.
You know what I need to ask? Because I always find it funny when I watch with your kids.
Yeah.
Do they respect you as a footballer? I'm curious.
They do, but not really. Because they think, it's just my daddy. You know what I mean? They don't look at you that way.
I'm wondering because when I hear Zlatan and a few other people, even Cristiano Ronaldo talk about his kid, they go, he likes to watch Messi.
Yeah.
And Zlatan's like, they don't respect me as a footballer like that, whatever. So I'm like, so people are like, when your kid grow up, I'm like, I wonder if my kids are going to look at me and go, you're not that good. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, I'm the greatest. I've done this. You know what I mean? So it's something that I've always, every time I get a chance to ask somebody that's done something, I was like, yo, does your kid respect you of what you have done throughout your life? You know what I mean? Your career.
But you'll always be daddy first. Right?
Yeah.
Of course.
You will always be dad first in football.
Like, you're lame, whatever.
No, but for us, what we've done, everyone has done it. And there's so many legends, people who won so many trophies here and there, but to still hold the record of 50, it's unbelievable. Do you think is there anyone you look at now and think he might be the guy who, records are there to be broken.
Yeah,
of course.
Definitely.
But is there anyone you see right now, or you think that person is not born yet? It's not out there yet.
I don't see it. Like, at times you can see talent where you go, if he develops well, he's gonna, I don't see it. I think one kid had my attention for a while. I think his name is Knight. Knight from the States. He ran 1940 something, and he's still he's probably just turning 20.
Really?
So he was pretty good, but it's all about developing the talent. You have to find a good coach and somebody to nurture and understand how to nurture the talent and help to build that talent. And when I saw him, I was like, this kid.
You had a really good coach. I think. How old were you when you guys started? Because you guys would. Sometimes when I watched your training or some of your documentaries, I saw how he was pushing you. He was relaxed with you, but he also pushes you.
Yeah, he's tough. I think we became a family over the years. I think at the start it was rocky.
Yeah.
But we grew to understand each other. It was my second year. I went professional 2003, 2004, and I started working him in 2005. And he's just, the level that he's at is just different. The way he does things, and when I get injured, the way he adjusts the programs, and he knows how to, he's just a genius, man.
Yeah.
One thing, he did two things throughout my career that blew my mind. And I was doing starts. And I was struggling. And he said, something is wrong. And he kept on looking. He's like, something's wrong, but I can't figure out what is wrong. And he went back, watched a few videos. He took videos of me in training. And he came back one day and said, bring your hands in. That was it. And I because my hands were wide, and I brought my hands in more. And it corrected everything. And I'm like,
wow.
What?
Just that little detail.
Yeah, just that little detail. And then another day we were doing some sprints, and he called me over and he goes, yo, shorten your strides. I go, huh? I was like, I'm running, I'm tall, I need to. He goes, don't worry, just shorten your strides.
Shorten your stride, yeah.
Just this much. I was like, all right, cool. And I could feel, when I started, I could feel the difference.
The difference.
Of me just, and the times I'm like, it's just he sees little things
Little things.
that he just said, yo, you need to move this, correct this. This is what I need to do. And what I love about him, we could have a conversation and he would, because sometimes he'd say, I was like, why? And he would explain to me and break it down for me. And it helps because now you know exactly why you're doing this and what you should actually do.
Did he understand you between the years as well, Usain?
Yeah. I think over the years, one thing that he said something that he always said, yo, the world has not seen the best of me. And I was like, no matter how fast I run, he always finds
He always finds something.
wrong. Oh, you should have done this, or stop looking around. And I'm like, come on, give me a perfect. I've never gotten a perfect race.
Really?
No matter what I've done. No matter what I've done.
He's never said to you, that was perfect.
No, never.
Keeping him
You
on
always
his
find
toes,
something.
yeah.
Oh, you were tying up here, you should have held your farm, or your head was going back. You always find something.
It kind of begs the question then, Usain. I mean, 19.19 200 meters, 9.58 100 meters. It's a question you'll have had a million times. What is the human being capable of? Is 19.19 the record? I personally, and again, I'm not an expert, that's the record I think that will stand before your 100 meters.
I think the 100 meters
is the one that
is the one. I think because when I broke the records in that season, I actually met the accident that season.
What?
And I was out for 2 months.
Wow.
In 09?
Yeah. I was out for 2 months.
Accident?
Even when I was training, I had to just train on the straight because my feet, anytime I run the corner, it would pain. It's painful. So I had to just do all straights for like a month when I just came back. So I didn't do a lot of curves. It was one day I was like, Coach, we need to start running the curve. I just got to make my mind up and go through the pain.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, yo, let's go. And I ran the curve. You know what I mean? If I had stayed fit and had no problem that season,
what do you think?
I don't even know. To tell you the truth, I don't even know what to tell you. Because the beauty of it is that I came off the Olympics fit, and then I went into the next season in great shape and was working on top of that. So I feel like if I had continued and had no issues.
No issues, yeah.
I genuinely wanted to run on the 19 seconds. I wanted to run on the 19 seconds.
And you think that's possible?
Yeah. I think if I continued that season, I don't say I would have gotten it, but it would have been close.
Under 19
I feel like
seconds.
that's because if you watch Olympics, after the 4x1, I ran through the line at the end of the 4x1 because I was that in shape. I was fit, I wasn't tired. In the World Championships, I stopped halfway and I just laid on the track because I was dead.
Yeah.
Because I missed out on like 2 months.
2 months of training.
Yeah.
So I knew if I was as sharp as I was supposed to be, it would have been different.
So under 19 seconds for 200 meters and 100 meters?
I don't
under 9.4?
No, I think I would be 9.4 or something. I think so. I personally think so. It would have been different because then I would be much sharper. You know what I mean? I would have a lot more race under my belts. And then you never know what happens.
Yeah, that's crazy though. We know we're talking about it. We're calling the number. It's not minutes. It's seconds. It's like 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
No.
And you can do it 100 meters on 9 seconds.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
We actually made a bet because I knew the shape that I was in. I knew I was going to break the world record because I broke the world record the year before. I never ran through the line. So we actually bet to see how fast I would have run through the. I was feeling good, you know what I mean? But because I missed out on a few months, kind of shifted out. So Coach always says, what helped me was the fact that I was fit last season and I didn't have no issues. So coming to the next season, I was already in great shape.
Yeah.
So even though I missed 2 months, it didn't really affect me
that much.
Yeah.
Because you still broke world records.
Exactly. So it kind of rolled into
15 years on, Usain, obviously the Usain Bolt era is done. Do you miss it? Do you miss, John and I I mean, John, 45,000 Stamford Bridge every other week, and then travelling around the globe playing in front of the biggest football stadiums, biggest football stadiums. You at Olympic Games, 80,000, hundreds of millions watching around the world. Where do you get that buzz from now?
For me, you can't get that. There's nowhere to get that buzz.
No.
One of the best feelings, man, is walking that first initial walk into the stadium, and then the crowd sees you and goes,
Yeah, go crazy.
It's different, man. It's a different feeling, you know what I mean? The buzz, you go into the blocks, you stride out, and you go, you know what I mean? There's no way of getting that feeling again, you know what I mean?
Nah.
So at times when I watch track and field, I do miss it. Like, I'm like,
Wow.
but then you think about training, you're like, yeah, whatever. You're like, yeah.
I'll just sit here.
You're like, yeah, I'm fine. Let's forget it. You know what I mean? So it's something that I love to see, but I love competition, you know what I mean? And even now, like, I see, like, Noah Lyles running. I'm like, yo, I wish he was in my era to just be cool.
Yeah,
So
we'll see that.
It was different.
Yeah, we'll see
You know,
that.
it's different. Be cool. You know what I mean? But that's how competitive I am. You know what I mean? I'm like, I wish I was in this era. You know what I mean?
Wow.
To put him in his place and just be
Because it's
Usain
fun.
Bolt.
It's fun. I love, like, I live for competition. I remember in 2013, Asafa was injured. Tyson had some problems. Blake was injured.
Johan,
It was one of my,
Tyson Blake, yeah.
and it wasn't, for me, that wasn't fun. And Gatney was just really getting into his running. And it wasn't fun for me. It was,
you want to beat the best.
yeah, I want to beat everybody. You know what I mean? Because I remember when I found out, I was like, oh. You know what I mean? My vibe kind of
went down a bit. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now I know that
Those guys
I
are
know
not there.
They're
Yeah.
not there because in 08, I remember because Tyson was injured and he didn't make it to the finals.
That's right.
And everybody was like, oh, you got lucky. Tyson was in the race. That's the way he shut down. I'm like, all right. Respect. I can respect that.
Yeah.
So the next year I was like, all right, let's go. You know what I mean? So I was hyped for that. I like things like that. I don't know why, but I live for competition.
Amazing. It's
You know
like
what I mean? That's something that I love.
Same with you,
It's
John.
like
I mean,
us. I mean, playing football as well. You know what I mean? It's same. Why we were so successful. You know, during our days at Chelsea, playing against your precious team, Manchester United. We'll come to that. And the competition. We'll see that, on Sunday tomorrow with you and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Just going back. I mean, your Manchester United now team. How do you feel? What's going on?
Oh my God, I don't know what's going on, man. It's crazy to see this, that we're struggling after last season. We all were excited. We're like, oh, okay, this might be it. We might be going back in the top 4 to challenge for. And then this season, you're like, what is happening? You know what I mean? And I was like, I can't believe this. It was so crazy. So it's just stressful, man.
I'm a United fan as well, Usain. All this grey hairs is because I'm a Man United fan. It is strange, isn't it? Man City are so far ahead of the rest. Arsenal, I hate to say it, John, but they've done well in the last few years. Man United and Chelsea, similar.
All right. The biggest question that I have all season, and me and my friends, I remember when I got the call, because Ricardo Gardner, the footballer, he's my good friend. And he called me and he goes, how does it feel? And I go, how does what feel? That Chelsea just passed you. And I go, and I said, what? Chelsea? And I picked my phone out. And Chelsea passed us. I was like, how are we in 8th place?
Crazy.
How are we in 8th? Chelsea was in 10th.
In 10th
all
place.
season.
11th as well. 12th
all
at
season.
some point. Yeah.
And every day I take the piss out of him. I was like, I would just laugh at him all the time. And I didn't even notice Chelsea was catching us up. And he just called me. He said, how does it feel? I was like, how does what feel that Chelsea passed you? And I had to check the table because I couldn't believe it.
You couldn't believe it.
I could not believe it, man. I could not. I was like, when did Chelsea win so much games?
Yeah,
that they could pass us.
We finished the season well.
Strong, very strong.
Very strong.
And for us, FA Cup win helped. Erik Ten Hag, do you like him, Usain?
I think I think he's butting head with too much players.
Yeah.
I think
I agree.
it's not good. It's not good if you're always having issues with players. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on. I don't know why, but it's always going to cause problems because you have to earn the players' respect. If you try to force things on them as an athlete, I understand. If you try to force yourself and you need to do this, I'm like, no, I'm not going to respect you. If you come and you coach us well and you show us, and then after a while you say, you know what, I like this guy, and you pump the guys up, then you know what I mean.
Your own football story is an interesting one. Usain, you were at Dortmund.
Yeah.
Was that a trial or was it some training?
For me, it was some training initially because Puma sponsored Dortmund, so they're like, you know what, come for a few days, hang out, train with the guys, whatever the case. You never know what can come of it. I was like, all right, okay. So it was fun. It's fun
And then
hanging
you
with
went
these
down
guys.
under. You went to Central Coast.
I think that was a mistake.
A mistake.
Yeah, initially,
Sydney one.
yeah. Because the reason I went was because the media was so much on me. Because I was like, let's see what Usain could do. And I knew if I stay in Europe, because I had different teams in France, different level leagues were saying, come, we'll give you a game, we'd like you to be a part of the team. And I was like, if I stay in Europe, the media is going to be on me. So I was like, you know what? I hit some friends up and they go, yo, Australia League, it's easy, you can come and learn and develop. And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. It's far away from everybody. No one's going to travel that far.
Far away from the media, yeah.
You know what I mean? Travel that far to come and watch us. So, but when I got there and the training was going on, for me, it was going well. I even called my coach. I was like, because to get fit, it was different because football training is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. They didn't do a lot of running like I did to get into shape. And I was like, I'm never going to get into shape like this.
Really?
Because they do a lot of ball work and then one day you do a lot of running. And I'm like, one day a week, I'm never going to get into shape. So I called my coach. I was like, yo, send me a program. You know what I mean?
You called
Yeah,
me?
I called my coach. I send me a program. And I need to do some extra work. Like after training, I'll just go to a track and do some runs just to get into shape quickly.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the assistant coach, his name was, but he used to play in the Premier League. And I remember he took a liking. He's like, yo, this is so good. The speed that you bring, your touch is good, but he was teaching me how to head the ball and little things. And I was like, yeah, I like this, you know what I mean? But when we got to the point where I was like to the coach, like, all right, how long do I need to work before I can actually start playing? Because I'm willing to wait. And it was like 4 months. And I'm like, 4 months? I'm like, nah, not going to wait 4 months.
That's too long.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, we played a game, and I remember he always let me play with like the second team. And they weren't at the level, you know what I mean?
That you won, yeah.
And I'm like, and I remember the last game where they kind of publicized that I was going to play. And it was the same thing he's trying to do. I'm like, no, I need at least a few of the senior guys to be in the team because they can actually pass me the ball.
Exactly, yeah.
The ball
Yeah,
would move
yeah,
different. And
yeah,
then
yeah.
I can show my talent, you know what I mean? And we played and I scored 2 goals. And I was working. I was like, all right, how long? I said 2 months and I'm ready. You know what I mean? Because I knew my plan and I was working with the assistant coach. So I knew I was going to be ready to go. And he goes, no,
Really?
four or 5 months. And I was like,
Wow.
that's half the season.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even assistant coach was saying to him, like, it's good to have him because now the defense can't push up. They have to always sit low.
Back. Yeah.
Because if he's there, he's going to be on goal all the time. You know what I mean? So after I was like, you know what? I don't know why. I was like, I'm not going to sit here I can make money some other way. It was fun for the 2 months that I was there playing, and it's a great experience. I actually enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Because it's the first time I've ever been in a team, like a proper team, to play some ball, knock it around.
But you still see it as a mistake.
Yeah, I feel if I had stayed in Europe, it would have been different. I think because there's a lot of clubs that actually wanted me to come.
And you were willing to go anywhere. You
Yeah.
saying you would have gone.
Yeah, because I was so worried, I didn't want the pressure because it's different. Because it's not like I'm very good at football. I'm good enough, but I'm going to need work.
You're willing to work to get better.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when you have the media on you every day and talking and, oh, he's this, he's that. If you make a mistake, it's going to be highlighted.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
I just need to go somewhere quiet so I can put in the work, no stress, and get to a level where now I can say to the clubs in Europe, like, I'm willing to come down. You know what I mean?
I thought the Dortmund move was going to be the one. You know what I mean? Because seeing you there and the guys, the way they accepted you, and I thought, okay, like this is where we'll see you play. And,
I remember the coach, as soon as you said that, I remember the coach at the time said to me, listen, they're nice to you now. But if you get into this team, they're going to be different guys. That's what he said to me. Really? He's like, listen, don't let them fool you. Remember, if you come into this team, you're going to be vying for their space. He's like, yo, don't let them fool you. They're nice to you now, but if you come into this team, it's going to be a problem. So it was funny that you said that they accepted me. No, they didn't.
No, they would have accepted you for a while.
Yeah, they're like, okay, it's cool. But if they see you're serious and taking their spot, they're like, nah.
Wow.
What is life like for Usain Bolt today? Are you in a happy place? Are you in a good place mentally?
Yeah. I'm happy. I have a family, great friends. I still work. I kind of choose when I work and what I do and when I travel. So it's good. I can't complain.
Life is good.
I can't complain.
We were talking earlier, Usain. What could you run the 100? If I was to mark out 100
everybody asks me that question.
and I don't want to insult you here. You would still be under 11 seconds?
Yeah, of course.
10 and a half?
Really? I think maybe 10 and a half. That's where I'm like, yeah, maybe that would be me.
Literally, we gave you running spikes now. You reckon?
Yeah.
But remember,
I probably rip a hamstring out. I probably have to run reserve. But I've said this now. So I've said to people, like, everybody asks me this question now. What? I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home. I'm going to train for 3 weeks. I'm going to do some work for 3 weeks. I'm just going to go to the track and run and do it and see how fast.
Yeah.
Seriously, so I can pull it out. Because I have no idea. You know what I mean?
Remember we were talking yesterday. You told me you don't train at all.
I don't train.
You don't
train at all. You know what I mean? I don't, like, I would, every now and then, like, my friends would get a kick and go, yo, let's work out. I would go for 2 weeks and then we stop. You know what I mean? It's always like that. But I was like, nah, I need to really get back in. I saw myself in the mirror all day. I was like, nah, I really need to do something. You know what I mean? So, and I'm like, my kids are going to, my daughter's 4 now, my boy's 3. I'm like, yo, I need to get into shape for them.
Yeah.
Because when they're ready to play football or run around, I need to be able to keep up, you know what I mean? And not be after 10 minutes, be like, oh, okay, let's stop now, you know what I mean?
That's like me, to be honest.
And they're going to be like, Daddy, are you sure you're the fastest?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not the fastest human on the planet.
So I saw this thing on TikTok and I'm like, I'm definitely going to be this dad. So every year, this dad has a running thing with his kid. From he was like, I think he was 8 years old. Every year on his birthday,
I saw
they
that.
race.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm definitely going to do that. I'm definitely going to do that.
And I think the dad is still winning.
Yeah, still winning. And
Really?
I'm like, yeah. I think, come on.
It's a great,
Come on, you want to beat me? I'm going to show you I'm the fastest man in the world. Let's go. You know what I mean?
That's the competitive.
Every year, when they get to a certain age, I'm like, all right, on your birthday, every year,
Let's go.
50 meters.
Imagine your dad is Usain Bolt.
Yeah, you gotta work to beat me. So, you know what I mean?
Is that something you're looking at? Thinking, of course, it's in your genes, in your blood. Is it something you're looking at? One of them might have. I hope so. You know what I mean?
I really do hope so, because I have so much knowledge to teach them, or you know what I mean. And I'm not gonna force them, but it's. Because I have so much knowledge, you never want your kid to do. If you start doing football, I'm like, okay.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? I can teach you 1 and 2 things about being mentally tough and stuff, but that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hopefully, one of them does track and field. My daughter is quick though.
Really?
She's smart. No, she's quick. Like she has this thing, like she looks at you like when she wants to do something, like she knows she like you said, do not go outside. And she looks at you like, okay. And as soon as you go, she's gone. and when you're running, and she loves it. So when you're running, she's like, she's going, she's just running. You know what I mean? So I'm like, maybe she will be the runner. My other boys, he runs weird. He hops when he's running. I'm like, yeah, you're not gonna be that. You know what I mean? She's the only one that runs. I'm like, yeah, you're not gonna catch her. You know what I mean? But the two boys are like, no. Hopefully they'll grow out of it.
We keep an eye on the girl.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on her.
And carrying that name, carrying the Bolt name. Yeah. I mean, that's
gonna be
legacy.
a lot of pressure though.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you imagine that though?
Yeah.
That's the one thing I wanted, but I was like, yo, imagine if they actually run.
Oh my God.
That's gonna just be a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
Because of who your dad is. It's because when your kid goes into the same sport that you're in, it's like, oh, but your dad used to be like this, or your dad used to do this. Yeah. So the standard is always going to be high, you know what I mean? And the pressure's going to always be there from the start. So we'll see. Wow. I just hope for the best.
And I've got no doubt if your daughter has any part of you saying she's going to be quick. I guess final one from me would be, when you reflect on it all, what you've achieved, you're still a young man, for goodness sake. I think you're younger than me. I've had a tough paper round, that's why. But when you reflect on it all, I mean, is there any regret at all? Anything at all?
The only thing, people always ask me, what would I tell my younger self? The only thing I would definitely say, if I had known, I would have gotten serious quicker. I think when I came out of school, as I said earlier, I wasn't trained. I was like, oh, I'm talented. If I knew what I knew then and started earlier, it would have been.
That's
exactly,
scary.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People always say that, but when I started out, but everything happens in its own time at the right time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take it. You know what I mean? Because if I had started early and young age, I would be good, because I was running fast. I remember it was 03, my PR was 28.2, and that's what won the World Championships in the 200 meters. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And in 05, they kind of outsmarted us because I would never forget John. It was John Kaplan. I'll never remember. Kaplan is his last name, and he iced us because we were young and we were in Helsinki and it was cold. And he went into the blocks and he just held his hand up, and we're like, "Yo, what's happening?" Oh, stand up, and they go, "Everything okay?" He goes, "Yeah." And then he put his foot on top of the blocks, and the people come and go, "You need to put your whole foot on the blocks."
Wow.
And he goes, "Okay." And then he does it again. So we were out there like freezing. And because he knew it wasn't at the level, so he iced us. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Mind games.
That's
crazy.
And I remember I got inside lane 1. I ran the hardest I could have ever run. I came on the straight. And what you felt today when he went, I was like, oh.
It's gone.
Yeah, it was gone. But it was because I was too tall. And when you run in lane 1, it's
It's tight.
you know what I mean? So it was different. But overall, I don't really regret anything.
No.
I think I did extremely well.
Amazing.
For my career, you know what I mean?
Amazing. Wow.
You're downplaying yourself,
Yeah.
you say.
You know what I mean?
You are a legend.
Yeah.
And I mean that, an icon of sport. You're an inspiration to so many. You're a credit to your nation. You're a credit to athletics. And we thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Not a
Thank you so
problem, man.
much.
Legend, Usain Bolt.
Amazing.
Oh, Johnny boy, we told you that he was box office, folks.
Yep.
Usain Bolt on the Obi One Podcast. Well done, you, John. That was class.
You can't get any better, man.
Oh.
We just keep raising the bar. We keep raising the bar.
I mean, he was everything and more that I was expecting. I'll be honest with you. As he walked in, as he ambled in, I was a bit nervous.
How huge he was, isn't it?
Because I thought to myself, what has John said to this bloke to get him on this pod? But the more he relaxed into it, I think he enjoyed us, not to blow hot up our backsides, but he relaxed into it. Just an amazing guy.
He relaxed into it, didn't he? I think the first couple of minutes, obviously, it was a bit, but then he relaxed into it, and then, he started, opening up, and then the conversation just flowed, didn't it? Like, I mean, that's what he does. Isn't it? He engages with people, And once he felt comfortable with us,
Real honesty as well.
exactly. Real honesty about, his career and the injuries, he had and how he had to overcome those injuries and things like that. I mean, it's special. It's so special for younger generation, for younger kids growing up to listen to the greatest, probably one of the greatest of all time.
I love the fact, and I did suspect this, had he not slowed down in 08, he thinks that run could have been better than the world record time of 9.58 that he would set, of course, in Berlin in 09. I thought that was a great line. And the fact he's not popped on any running spikes since.
No.
I mean, the bloke, you can tell as well, he's added. And you said, if you're watching this, you're a bit like me more than you like this fella. He's added a bit. He's enjoying life.
He's enjoying life. I mean, when you've been training 4 years, every 4 years to run seconds, to run for seconds, it's crazy. Once you've retired and once you're done, once you've hung up those shoes, you think, I need to enjoy my life. I need to now enjoy, because for 4 years, every 4 years, you are trying to beat certain records. And the crazy thing is that he's always trying to beat his record, which is the funny part of it.
Yeah, he's racing against himself.
Exactly, he's racing against himself. So no, if he didn't slow down, like you said, he thought he could have beat it.
Decent on the football pitch. You said at the start of the podcast, you saw him up close. He's got a decent left foot.
He's got a decent left foot. Yeah, he's got a decent left foot. Like, he loves to try to curl it in the corner.
I watched that. I saw that.
Yeah, he loves to practice his free kicks. Did have a conversation with him, in training, and he told me, like, Mikel, listen, I haven't been training not one bit. Like, I've just been enjoying life. Like, I was like, really? Like, he said, I need to start doing something. Like, I need to get on a treadmill. Like, but it still looks good. It still looks good. I mean,
he's Usain Bolt.
Yeah, he's Usain Bolt. He still looks good. He can do what he wants. But, the good thing is that whenever he wants to pick it up back again, it will be interesting one day. I mean, the next year or so to see if he can come out of. Do you think something like that will happen where he comes out of?
He comes back.
Because
no.
I mean, no one has beat his record. The record is still there.
I think that man is enjoying himself. That man is.
He's enjoying himself too much.
I was kind of skeptical as to whether he had suffered coming out of the limelight, but that doesn't seem to be the case at all.
No.
It looks as if he had his time, he put it to bed, and he's gone away and he's settled into normal life, as normal as it can get for Usain Bolt. What I should point out to our listeners and to our viewers as well is he wasn't massively happy with us at the end of the pod. This is a guy who listens to the podcast, which is amazing, by the way. That took us by surprise.
Exactly, yeah.
But he took umbrage, certainly with you, and kind of me, but more you. We can't get into this because he was a bit worried afterwards. Essentially, he took umbrage with John's views about a certain footballer. Okay.
Yes, he did.
He's a big Man United fan, as you say. That's
you can have a guess where that's going.
He wasn't happy with
No,
you.
I wasn't happy. Obviously, I enjoy people who have a very strong opinion about certain, situations, and he definitely had a strong opinion about, my opinion about,
a certain someone.
two certain. Allegedly the two greatest footballers of all time. Let's put it that way. So, but we had a conversation afterwards. I said my piece, he said his piece, and we both have a different opinion about that. So, which is fine, and that's something that I enjoy, those kind of conversations, because I don't expect people to have same opinion that I have. So we all have our opinions, and I hope that everybody will stick to their opinion rather than trying to change someone else's or trying to force your opinion on someone else. Because at the end of the day, it's just opinions.
We're entitled to
exactly. We're entitled to it.
I should point out that it was all hugs and kisses afterwards.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
We are massively appreciative for Usain giving up his time to join us.
And the crazy thing is that, like you said, I mean, he's listening to the pod. He watches the pod. He's a big fan of the pod.
Bolt.
You know what I mean? Usain Bolt to be a big fan of the pod, for me, that was something, amazing. Yeah. He's awesome, man.
Well, it's not to do with me. It's all to do with you, pal. It is fantastic to have had Usain Bolt on the podcast. So that kickstarts season 2. taking the Mikel as well as part of our catalogue this year as well. Of course, what is taking the Mikel? It's a chance for us every other week to get John's thoughts on the big talking points in football.
Yes.
We know the club season is up and running shortly. There's always a talking point or two. And this bloke, having known you for about a couple of years now, John, you've got an awful lot to say.
I do.
So it's only right that you can get onto that soapbox and voice your opinion. It's only right that you get to do that.
Exactly. It's only right that we all have our opinions, isn't it? Like, I mean, the fans, some of the fans will agree a lot. We agree a lot. We disagree with my opinion. But at the end of the day, I think we all love, if it is Chelsea, we all love the club. We want to see the club do well. It's my club. You know what I mean? Fucking hell, I spent 12 years, at the club. I'm part of the furniture in the club, you know what I mean? And I'm same like the fans. So I think my opinion is my opinion. And sometimes we agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, we want to see the club do well. If it's a different club in the Premier League, we also want to have our say. We want to have our opinion. And I just hope we all respect everybody else's opinion. But I'm looking forward to taking the Mikel as well.
Yeah, taking the Mikel every other Wednesday. And then, of course, the Obi One Podcast with some of the biggest names, as John rightly points out, not just in football, in other industries as well. And you know my favourite thing?
Yeah.
Now it's become, forget spending time with my daughters. Favourite thing is a few hours after we release Taking the Mikel.
Oh, yeah.
It's all the abuse that you get, John. And you get plenty of... Michaela Mudryk as well. I'm not sure. I think John's off the Christmas card list. That's a completely different story altogether. But Taking the Mikel, of course, every other week. And then it is the Obi One Podcast. Usain Bolt in the can. Let me tell you, we have got some bloody brilliant guests upcoming.
We have. And it's been made very, very possible by our number one sponsors, exclusive sponsors, BetWinner.
Yeah, big shout.
We keep raising the bar and they've supported us. They've supported us season 1, season 2. We want to go on and on, season 3, season 4. We want to do this for as long as we can. And we've been smashing it. You've been amazing. The whole team, everybody's been great. The camera people, the people behind the scene as well that are not seen here.
Absolutely.
It's been made possible also by them as well.
So, no iron team, as the saying
no
goes.
Iron team.
The water carriers, the John Obi Mikels
Exactly,
of this
the water
world.
carriers,
They're behind the camera. This is the nearest thing that we become to a Didier Drogba and Eden Hazard. I think, right, that is it. Episode 1 is in the can. Usain Bolt, what a guest he was, and the bar just keeps getting risen time after time. Right, a reminder, if you haven't downloaded to us and subscribed, you got to do that now, please. You can follow all of us on social media as well. Mikel John Obi on Instagram. We're still trying to get him back into his X account. That's a different story. Follow us as well, Obi One Podcast on Instagram and to X. All of that is down the bottom. And you can also subscribe to us on YouTube. We're a smidgen shy of getting to 100,000 subscribers. John wants that little plaque.
Yeah, we need it. We need it. Our fans, come on, we need it. We need it. Come on.
I want it. I promised my mum for it for Christmas. So do give us a subscription follow as well. It'd be great to have you on board because trust me, you want to do that. You want to be notified of the guests that we have got on the Obi One Podcast, made possible by BetWinner. Season 2 is up and running. We'll see you soon.